We have one of our two freshman state legislators here right now. Jim Haadsma is the representative from the 62nd District. Jim, it's nice to see you. Good morning.
Tim, it's my pleasure. Good morning to you, and thanks for the invitation.
Talking about the county board, that stuff's no strange territory for you. You were a county board person for quite a long time.
Certainly was, and I enjoyed my time, and I visited there on January 3 at the time of the organizational meeting this month, and had opportunity to speak about the importance of collaboration between the state of Michigan and the county board to make sure that we provide, as a state, revenues to Calhoun County.
Yeah, and of course, roads, the state of Michigan trying to figure out how to fund roads better, and the county, of course, right in the thick of that, because the money trickles down to the county and then it goes out to get the work done. And so that's probably the biggest issue right now. And before we get into that, though, I just kind of wanted to ask you, what it's been like so far, because your life has changed dramatically since the election in November, and you were elected as our state representative to the 62nd seat. We had that crazy lame duck session, and then Christmas and the holidays, and then I guess you guys hit the ground running right after New Year's. What have you been doing?
It's been a really busy and exciting time. Freshman Matt Hall and I both have received orientation on orientation. Lots of new things, like learning where to park your car and walk into a legislative office for the first time. I don't recall ever being in a state legislative office before I walked into the one which is mine last 2 weeks ago, back on the 3rd of January, and that is exciting. The whole experience has been really exciting, a lot of pomp and circumstance in the first week, and just on Wednesday we received our committee assignments, as Nico reported earlier. So there's a lot of new freshness that I'm confident Matt Hall and I are both excited about embracing.
And typically the session is middle of the week, right? Legislative session is by and large Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday?
It is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, typically in the afternoon, although they changed things up last week and started Thursday at 10 a.m. That was an interesting experience because I had some cases scheduled in my day job as a lawyer over in Kalamazoo. So fortunately I have judges and lawyers who are friends of mine and work with me on that, and we rescheduled some things. And then when I got there, and this is part of the learning process, we went into session and then very little happened. Apparently it was intended for the freshmen to have an opportunity to see how things work on the State House floor, which was eye-opening for me.
How many freshmen are there in the State House this year, roughly, ballpark? I know that both of our representatives here in Calhoun County, you and Matt Hall, are both first-timers.
So there's a process by which representatives select seats, and the third-term people have the first opportunity to go forward, and then the second-term people, and then the freshmen. And looking at the roster, it appeared to me that about a third of this session's House of Representatives is a collection of freshmen. So we got a lot of new voices in the Michigan House this year, Tim.
I'm trying to remember how many there are. It's like 110 or something?
There are 110, yes.
Yeah, 110, and I didn't do my homework to figure out the split exactly now. The Republicans have a majority in that 110-seat House, but what is the split?
It's 58-52. So the Democrats gained 5 net seats. We flipped 6 seats. We lost a seat up in the Upper Peninsula that was held by a Democrat. So it's a narrow margin, and from what I can tell, both by the orientations we undertook in December and that which we've done so far in January, I think it's going to be a much more collegial group than came before us. As you indicated, the lame duck session was very confrontational, and I think after that there's been a catharsis, as it were, and it seems like everybody, at least in the beginning, wants to go in and work bipartisanly to do the best we can for Michigan.
Well, they know they have to take a different tack. Those who have already been in the legislature for a term or two. Um, Now we have a Democrat governor, and Gretchen Whitmer for the Democratic Party, and so she could veto anything that she doesn't like, and probably have enough votes. The Republicans would not have enough votes to override that veto, I'm guessing. So it's going to require some cooperation on future legislation.
I think one thing that is exciting so far is that Governor Whitmer has arranged for these quadrant meetings with the leaders of the Michigan Senate and leaders of the Michigan House to meet with her periodically. They just did that on Wednesday, and I'm hopeful that'll continue. I think that'll allow more bipartisanship and allow us to get more done collaboratively as opposed to confrontationally.
Yeah. And I guess first order of business, I alluded to it as we began, road funding and the road bill. Have you been able to get in the middle of that so far? What's being done in Lansing? What's being talked about? And what would you like to see happen?
One of the committees to which I'm assigned is transportation. The other is energy. And there hasn't been passage of any bill yet at this point. Bills are just being presented, but I'd certainly like to ensure that our roads are better maintained, and that's why transportation and secondarily energy were committees I sought to serve on, and I'm excited to have that opportunity.
Well, certainly, probably the big issue that we talked about before the campaign, and it was certainly a big issue for Governor Whitmer too. You know, fix the damn roads, and so now the question is okay, how are we going to do that? Are we going to end up with the same bill that was defeated last year, or are we going to end up with something different? I mean, how do you think it's going to go? What's going to happen that's going to be better than what we have now to try and fix our roads?
Tim, one of the exciting things is there's all kinds of new ideas opening before me, and I'm not certain of what the majority on the State Transportation Committee is going to suggest, but I'm excited I'm going to be part of that. And being here in Calhoun County and having served on the county board and knowing our roads issue here in Calhoun County, I'm excited to be at ground zero in that context.
And I just realized that I'm mixing up two things too. The auto insurance reform is another big issue, and of course the road funding and fixing the roads. But by and large, I mean, what can we do? I mean, you've been at the county board level for many, many years, so you're well aware of how it kind of works, especially here in Calhoun County. What can we do to help some of these more rural townships get those roads fixed so that we're not just patching them and they get worse and worse every year, and still make it fair to those townships where people have said, all right, we'll approve it. We're going to have a special assessment, or we'll approve a millage. We're going to improve our roads and get more of the funding. What's the answer? Is there one?
I think one answer demonstrated by Calhoun County is, in fact, either a per parcel assessment as they have in Bedford or a roads millage as they have in Penfield. I'm excited to see that Emmett Township has taken effort to stage a number of meetings around the end of the year to talk about a roads millage or per parcel assessment opportunity in Emmett Township. I definitely think that townships should have a buy-in, should have an investment in their roads, and certainly when they make that kind of buy-in, like say Albion Township, there's a local share that too comes from the county. So I definitely think that that's one way we could go forward. Certainly if you go around Calhoun County, you see a great difference in roads in relation to now Penfield and then right next door in Emmett Township.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that is the thing. And I guess, as I understand it, the way it's worked so far is if a township in Calhoun County does make a commitment to passing a millage, or if their board passes a special assessment, then they get some matching dollars for those projects from the county, which comes through the state. If they do nothing, then they pretty much get nothing except for the bare minimum of patching.
Yes, and you go townships like Burlington or Clarendon, and you're going to see the great difference between just up the road Albion Township, which has that road millage. So I think that the state has to do a better job, and it might start with visiting Public Act 51, seeing what we can do to make roads funding more equitable across the spectrum of townships and counties in Michigan.
Yeah, Public Act 51 has been around since, well, 51, I think.
I think you're right.
And some people are saying, well, we need to do something different than what we're doing now, because obviously if you try to drive across pretty much any county in Michigan, like you have said, you'll see a great difference when you cross, well, every 6 miles is a township, and it's just day and night between some. State Representative Jim Haadsma, the 62nd District, is with us. Pretty much Battle Creek proper. I mean, the 63rd has some of the lower and eastern portion of the county, southern and eastern.
It does. The 62nd is the city of Battle Creek, the city of Springfield, and over on the east side, the city of Albion, and the townships which connect Battle Creek and Albion.
We anticipate maybe one of the first orders of business by the new legislature will be to address this auto insurance reform, which, we have some of the highest auto insurance, if not the highest in the nation, and they've been paralyzed to actually do anything about it. Now, is something going to happen about that?
Speaker of the House has indicated that auto insurance reform is his top priority coming out of the gate. I believe that the Senate Majority Leader, too, has indicated the same. I think from our caucus perspective, the Democratic caucus perspective, we too are prioritizing auto insurance reform. Talked to a lot of freshmen and a lot of returning members, and everybody seems to be focusing on that. Different ideas. The fair and affordable and no-fault reform package that was introduced last cycle would ensure that variables like zip code and educational attainment and gender aren't allowed by insurance companies to fix rates. I think we, too, in my caucus, would support some sort of cost containment health services care rules program like exists in the workers' comp agency, so that auto insurers aren't just paying retail that medical providers assert is owed for auto-related medical services. Mm-hmm. So there are a number of variables that are being considered by those in the House and Senate. I'm confident the leaders are going to address this issue early on. You mentioned earlier, Tim, lame duck. There was a no-fault reform bill in lame duck. It didn't go anywhere, so that died. So we're starting fresh. I think that that'll be front and center as we go on into the first quarter of the year.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to get that done. Like you said, there's just so many variables. I mean, first of all, is it right for insurance companies to charge more for certain areas where they have more claims? It seems like it would be, but, that's kind of a bone of contention with the people who represent those areas. Hey, why should our people pay more? Well, because you're in more accidents. Well, we can't.
One of the most interesting things I gathered from some of these orientations in December was the great fervor on the part of the Detroit caucus to do something about auto insurance reform because of the high rates that are paid by motorists in Detroit, such that it allegedly impedes people moving into Detroit because they don't want to pay high auto insurance rates compared to if they lived in, say, Macomb County or Novi or someplace like that.
And of course, you have a lot of people who then just say, well, I'm not going to have any insurance, I can't afford it. And then they're driving illegally somehow, or they will get insurance and then drop it.
I think there's a lot of that right around here.
Yeah, I think probably everywhere. The other thing, though, is sort of an a la carte choice. Could someone buy bare bones auto insurance and save money, and then somebody else want to spend a little bit more for greater coverage? We kind of don't really have that, and it's been talked about as an option to try and lower the costs. Are you in favor of something like that?
I'm not in favor of the bill that was presented last time and favored by Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan, and then Speaker of the House, Leonard. I'm not in favor of that because I think that bare bones coverage is what many people would seek out, and frankly, there is a necessity for some modicum of coverage to make certain that people are covered, and that those who might be the victims of their accident might be covered in the event of car crashes. Nobody expects a car crash, and nobody likes to spend money on a premium, but I'll tell you what, if there is a car crash, you're going to be happy that you have good coverage as opposed to the bare bones coverage that would be available under that a la carte opportunity, which was favored by Mike Duggan from Detroit and Tom Leonard from DeWitt last cycle.
Like you say, a lot of variables there, and I hope you guys will sort it out and we'll get some favorable bill passed very soon. Look forward to visiting with you, Jim, once a month here, and we'll even give people an opportunity to call in and ask some questions, and we'll have also your fellow legislators, Matt Hall, on once a month, and also State Senator Dr. John Bison once a month. And so we'll give people a chance to call in and ask questions, or you can email those questions in. And if you guys have something that you'd like to talk about with the listeners, just let us know, and we'll do that.
Matt and I have offices right next to one another. I'm confident we're going to do our best to work collaboratively to bring best of services to those in Calhoun County. And Dr. Bison, I saw him last week. I think he too will work with us to, on the Senate side, bring the best of Calhoun County. Thanks for the opportunity. I look forward to it.
All right. State Representative Jim Haadsma, 62nd District.